Hi LEGO fans! You better hold on to your butts because we're embarking on an adventure 65 million years in the making. The $250 price tag was enough to make John Hammond cry, but we spared no expense, and today we're going to be unboxing, speed building and reviewing set number 75936 Jurassic Park T-Rex Rampage from LEGO Jurassic World. The gargantuan 3,120 piece park count includes 6 iconic minifigures: Ian Malcolm, Ray Arnold, John Hammond, Ellie Sattler, who looks suspiciously like Fleur Delacour, Alan Grant, and you didn't say the magic word, Dennis Nedry. We also get a UCS style display plaque on which we can display the minifigures, what has to be the largest commercially available LEGO dinosaur, and a set of Jurassic Park gates. Seriously, this dinosaur is monumentally huge. It's almost 70 centimeters or 30 inches long. In fact, I've no idea where I'm going to put this. Flipping over to the back of the box, we learn there's more to this set than a novelty oversized T-Rex and some gates. Although the gates are probably big and sturdy enough to restrain an average sized dog, these are not a one-trick pony. We actually have various fun scenes from the original Jurassic Park built into the back of the gates. The gates also use a mechanism to open and close, which I guess begs the question of whether you could add a motor. We could also recreate the scene where Dennis gets taken out by a pack of Dilophosaurus.
Dilophosaurus not included, see terms and conditions.
We also have Ray Arnold sitting behind a Unix workstation, John Hammond enjoying a spared no expense lunch complete with green jelly, Ellie Sattler in a perpetual state of fear, Ian Malcolm who could really use some sunscreen, and Alan Grant discovering some hatched dinosaur eggs. Now would be a very good time to run. And how could we have the iconic 30-inch long Tyrannosaurus Rex without his favourite feeding bowl? This set looks absolutely epic, and I'm sure it's going to take about 65 million years to build it. But before we do that, we have to unleash the beast. So let's open up this box and see what we got inside. Here's everything that came inside the box, and boy oh boy, that's a lot of LEGO. We've got about 27 bags of LEGO, conveniently numbered for stages 1 through 15, 13 assorted base plates, a 218 page instruction booklet for the Tyrannosaurus Rex, and a 250 page instruction booklet for the Jurassic Park gates. And because we have 2 completely separate builds, today we're going to do a tandem speed build. And a $250 LEGO set wouldn't be complete without the sticker sheet. We're going to go ahead and build set number 75936 Jurassic Park T-Rex Rampage, and today this is going to be a 2.5 minute speed build. here is the completed Jurassic Park T-Rex Rampage from LEGO Jurassic World. I've got to tell you, this thing is awesome. Build time, as you might expect from a 3,120 piece LEGO set, was quite a long time. Not quite 65 million years, but as a tandem build we managed to build this in 3 hours and 40 minutes. That equates to about 7 hours and 20 minutes of hardcore building time in a single sitting. Basically, the set breaks down into 3 distinctive components. We've got the novelty oversized lizard, 6 awesome first generation Jurassic Park minifigures on a display stand, and a humongous pair of gates. We're going to start out by taking a look at the T-Rex, then we'll follow up with a look at the gates, including all the cool stuff around the back, and we'll finish up by getting up close and personal with those minifigures. The Harry Potter Fleur de la Cour minifigure was an unexpected bonus, and I'll show you what I mean later in the video. We're starting out this review with the phenomenal Tyrannosaurus Rex. This guy is so impressive and really does remind me of a Roboraptor. Depending on how exactly you pose the T-Rex, she stands around 9 inches tall. When fully outstretched, she's about 27 inches or 69 centimeters long, and I've clocked her running around the studio at about 32 miles per hour. T-Rex is also pretty darn heavy, and I'm praying she's not going to poop on Mrs H's kitchen scales. She weighs in at 2 pounds and 14 ounces, or for you guys over in Europe, about the same as a large brie. Focusing in on the business end of the dinosaur, T-Rex is truly a fearsome sight. In fact, Tyrannosaurus Rex literally means King Tyrant Lizard, which is quite an appropriate name. The mouth is home to a fearsome array of fangs made up of 1x1 and 1x2 modified studs. If you ask T-Rex to open up her mouth and say "ah," you might just catch a glimpse of her tongue. The mouth is so big the T-Rex can swallow Professor Flitwick and 2 Baby Groots whole and still have room to go out hunting for lunch. Speaking of dinner, there's a really cool Easter egg buried deep within the T-Rex. Step 12 of the instructions calls for the use of a LEGO frog. So why on earth is there a LEGO frog buried deep within the T-Rex where it can't see the light of day? I've got a feeling Mr. DNA could explain this a little bit better than me, but here goes. When Jurassic Park scientists wanted to create dinosaurs from incomplete DNA strands, they simply used amphibian DNA to fill in the gaps. T-Rex has beady raptor-like eyes, and these are perfectly custom printed to match the dinosaur. We even have a bulge above each eye to correctly replicate the shape of T-Rex's skull. Now, whilst the T-Rex may look very poseable and strong, she's actually quite rigid and fragile. I did expect some flexibility in the neck for posability, but the reality is very different. This is not exactly how I intended on proving the point, but I think you get the idea. The head is equipped with a ball joint, but for the most part this just provides a way of snapping the head onto the body. The tail itself is quite chunky and needs no less than 4 ball joints to connect it to the body. With everything now reconnected, I'll get back to my original point, which is that there is very little movement in the head. T-Rexes are well known for having very short arms and an itchy butt because they can't reach it to scratch. In this case we have 2 suitably teeny tiny arms complete with talons and a couple of ball joints for manoeuvrability. One of the biggest challenges when it comes to producing a 2 pound 14 ounce bipedal dinosaur has to be how to distribute all of that weight. I mean, this thing is considerably bigger than a standard LEGO T-Rex. As such, the feet and legs on Tyrannosaurus Rex are absolutely enormous. They also look remarkably like a chicken's feet with the movable toes, and the ridges on the lower parts of the legs. One detail I really like about the feet are the claws. Each one of these is actually made of 2 separate assemblies which are snapped in together. The construction of the upper legs is really neat. Anatomically these look perfect, and we even have the backwards bend in the leg. But the real masterpiece of LEGO engineering is those hip joints. The designers have built in a small amount of lateral flexibility, and there's a pretty hardcore ratcheted hip joint. This is making me feel like some kind of dinosaur physiotherapist. With one of the leg joints removed, you can see the hip joint within. This is really quite a piece of engineering. The gears within allow the leg to move both backwards and forwards and from side to side to give it some lateral movement. Now, you do have to take some care when adjusting the pose of the T-Rex, but those movable hips do give you a few different options. You can pose the T-Rex in a very dynamic howl at the moon position, or even have her crouch down for a confidential chat with Dennis. He didn't say the magic word. Despite relatively few points of articulation, the T-Rex does have quite a dynamic look and feel. In fact, many of the points of articulation, 10 in total, are found in T-Rex's tail. This also acts as a very important counterbalance, and without it, well, that happens. The tail truly is beautifully constructed. At the end we have 4 ball joints which connect to the body, and the next 3 vertebrae are constructed similarly. We then have a couple of vertebrae held together by 3 ball joints, and then further along we have a couple of pairs. Where we have multiple ball joints, the tail can only flex side to side, but this does give it a really nice clicky-clacky flexible movement. And then at the end we have single ball joints which provide 360 degrees of articulation. One thing I've not mentioned is the colour of the Tyrannosaurus Rex. Whether this is right or wrong is at the discretion of the beholder. In truth, there's no evidence to tell us what colour a dinosaur was. For all I know, a Tyrannosaurus Rex could have been a chameleon-like creature. Despite all that, the LEGO T-Rex is actually a very good looking dinosaur. On the very top we have 2 different colours of brown. I think it's a fair assumption that the top of the dinosaur would be a darker colour. That would protect her from the sun and also offer some camouflage from creatures in the air. The sides are coloured in this very neutral beige which may offer some camouflage against grass. That would be more for the Tyrannosaurus Rex to hide from its prey than the other way around. And then down at the bottom we have the grey feet. This certainly aligns with large birds that roam the earth today. After all, T-Rex probably has more in common with barnyard chickens than she does with you and me. Except for LEGO, of course. T-Rex absolutely adores LEGO. Moving swiftly along, we have these absolutely fantastic Jurassic Park gates. In fact, there are probably more LEGO elements used in the gates than there are in the dinosaur. Whilst not perfect, these are a pretty good recreation of the gates from the original movie. Near the top we have the original Jurassic Park logo, which is stretched across 3 stickers. We also have a bunch of torches glowing away, and in total there are 6 of these. There is also a serious amount of foliage to make the gates look like they're emerging from the rainforest. Because the elements are packed together quite densely, it was actually quite difficult to follow the instructions. And on the other side we have a similar volume but different configuration of greenery. We actually spent quite a lot of time at the end of the build putting this bit together. Running through the centre of the gate we have a muddy trail complete with guide rail for those 1993 Ford Explorers. I did wonder at first if this might be some kind of new rail element. In fact, it's 1x4 channel bricks mounted on their side. You'd be surprised how many bricks went into making this muddy trail. My favourite elements of all have to be these 1x2 modified elements. These give a very effective tyre churned muddy look. Completing the entryway to the Jurassic Park tour we have a grand pair of gates. These even have a mechanism to help them open and close. I'll show you how that works later in the video. The only thing these gates really lack are any sign of the electrical fences that would be connected to the sides. Apart from that, I think they're pretty cool. And if you think they're cool from this angle, wait until you see what we've got around the back. Of course, I'm not referring to the back of the gates, those are pretty ugly. But we do have some fun vignette scenes built into both sides of the gate. There's a storage bunker complete with bed for Ian Malcolm to have a lie down. Inside there you'll find other useful stuff such as a fire extinguisher, an escape ladder, and a storage unit stuffed with useful supplies. Unusually for LEGO, there is a mistake in this part of the instructions. Step number 31 calls for 2 printed pieces. These are meant to be used for the drink containers you'll see on the back wall. But in the instructions these are rendered as a dark part with no printing. This caused just a bit of confusion, but we figured it out. Moving up to the next level, John Hammond has spared no expense and laid on a feast. We've got a bowl of ice cream, some cakes and cookies, and even some green jello dessert which was featured in the movie. And up on the final level for this side of the gates, we have Dennis Nedry trying to rescue the converted Barbasol shaving foam container, which contains all of the stolen dinosaur embryos. He's got a face full of Dilophosaur phlegm, and we'll take a look at that in just a moment. It's a relatively small scene, but I like the attention to detail here, even using the original Barbasol brand colours for the shaving foam. Another small detail is the toilet from which lawyer Donald Gennaro was plucked by a T-Rex. Unfortunately, we do not get a Donald Gennaro minifigure in this set, but certainly seeing a lawyer getting eaten by a Tyrannosaurus Rex was a highlight of the movie. One really nice detail here is the LEGO pistol used for the toilet handle. Next we have the control room manned by chain-smoking Ray Arnold. Behind Ray we have 3 computers running those important Unix systems. Then we have an overview of Isla Nublar, and I think the 3rd screen is monitoring the weather. What we don't have here is Dennis Nedry's workstation. That was actually featured in a previous Jurassic Park set. You didn't say the magic word. Finally, on the lowest level we have the power shed. If my memory serves me correctly, this is where Ellie figures out why Ray didn't come back. We have a bank of opaque and transparent elements which was real fun to put together, and the master switch for Jurassic Park. Up to now I was struggling to figure out what this thing was. I thought it might have been some kind of stun gun Ellie was using to fight off the velociraptors. But having carefully sourced a prop for this scene, the penny dropped. In a very dark reference, LEGO have actually included the disembodied arm of Ray Arnold. That is so cool! As well as fun scenes at the side of the gates, we also have some decoration up top. There's lots and lots of lovely foliage. And as a clear indication that life always finds a way, life did find a way. We've got a nest complete with some hatched dinosaur eggs. Of course, it should be impossible for dinosaurs to reproduce on the island. So your quiz for today is to tell me why in the comment section below. Also up here we have a mechanism for opening the gates. This is actually remarkably simple but works really well. There's an axle connected to the top of each gate and a couple of gears to help them move. It's a surprisingly effective mechanism and the gates come together really nicely. So after proving King Kong is definitely not hiding behind the gates, I think it's time to move on to the minifigures. In total, the 75936 Jurassic Park T-Rex Rampage set comes with 6 minifigures. We even have this really cute baby velociraptor. From left to right we have Dr. Ian Malcolm, Dr. John Alfred Hammond, John Raymond Arnold, otherwise known as Ray, Dr. Ellen or Ellie Sattler, Dr. Alan Grant, Alan, and it's Dennis Nedry. Some of these characters come with appropriate accessories, and they all stand on this magnificent minifigure display stand. Yes, this is definitely a display piece aimed at adult fans with deep pockets. It includes some rather nice floral decoration, and a UCS style display plaque telling us all about the T-Rex. Tyrannosaurus Rex literally means King Tyrant Lizard. She grows to 5.2 meters or 17 feet tall, stretches out about 13.5 meters or 44 feet, and weighs 8.4 tons or 18,518 pounds. Tyrannosaurus Rex cannot be fooled by an Impossible Burger, and for the purposes of Jurassic Park only, her habitat is Isla Nublar. This is Dr. Ian Malcolm, the mathematician and chaos theory specialist. He's like the rock star of the movie and definitely gets some of the best lines. He's a great looking minifigure, although a little bit too orange for my liking here. Also, the torso print does show the skin slightly lighter than the tone of the minifigure's face, which looks a little bit odd. He looks a little bit yellow and washed out here, but we do have that hairy chest. He definitely does show too much skin, and we've got the sweat pouring down there underneath the black shirt. On the leg print here, we do have some almost plain black legs, but then some really nice printing for this tourniquet, and also for the belt we've got some metallic printing there. He does of course break his leg taking quite a fall, and then ends up kind of stretched out on the bed showing way too much chest. The facial expression is great, I like that. Really looks like Jeff Goldblum from the movie, and you can see here he is sweating profusely. Around the back, we've got another expression which is slightly more disconcerted and afraid, and then we've got this great hairstyle. You know, he plays a great character in the movie, has some great lines. There is there is printing on the back there. We've got a little bit of creasing on the back of his shirt, but that is the great Dr. Ian Malcolm. Even though this character has a bunch of great lines in the movie, here are my favourite too. How do you know they're all female? Does somebody walk into the enclosure and look under the dinosaur's skirt? And of course my absolute favourite, that is one big pile of shit. Next we have Dr. John Alfred Hammond, the CEO and creator of Jurassic Park. As you can see here, LEGO spared no expense when it came to making this minifigure. He is carrying this torch here, which is a very simple construction, and then we've got a great printed outfit here. Really looks like the character. We've got the plain white legs, and then the shirt which is kind of open at the top here with the pockets and the stripes, a little bit of skin showing through from underneath, and around the back yet more of that detailing. We've got the kind of hook on the back there. Really nice, and I like the dual molded arms. We've got the short sleeves with the flesh showing through. Really nice facial expression showing John Hammond's beard and those perfect white teeth. I'm going to take his hat off a second so we can see those gold rimmed metallic spectacles, and those teeth are perfect, aren't they? That's great. He actually looks a lot like the late great Sir Richard Attenborough, who was the actor who played him. We don't have an expression around the back, but we do have this magnificent hat, which is I guess the signature hat of John Hammond. And what a great minifigure! So who's hungry? Favourite line from the movie for John Hammond is easy. Spared no expense. It is a real shame that we don't get the Lex and Tim minifigures with this set, but you can find these guys in set number 75932 Jurassic Park Velociraptor Chase. That set is still available, and you'll probably find it at your local LEGO store. You'll also find a review for this set on my channel, and I'll put a link to it on screen now. Next we have the chain-smoking chief engineer of the park, John Raymond Arnold, otherwise known as Ray, and played by the magnificent Samuel L. Jackson. This is a great looking minifigure and comes with dual moulded legs, which are then over printed with the lab coat. That is really nice. That on the torso here we have the grey spotted tie. Actually, I think those are squares. We've got the ID badge and then a Jurassic Park logo, which yeah, kind of washed out. I guess there the printing is very tiny, but that actually looks pretty good. We have the facial expression here, which is quite muted with the gold rimmed spectacles, and around the back a rather more terrifying expression. I guess he's about to lose his arm just there. We do have a very short cropped haircut. I think that's actually the hair they used for Victor Crumb recently in the Harry Potter sets. And around the back we do have some very simple printing for the back of the, I guess, the lab coat there, and some creases on the back of the jacket. But all things considered, this is an awesome Ray Arnold minifigure. I don't recall Ray Arnold having a ton of lines in the movie, but my favourite one has to be this.
Hold on to your butt.
Whilst we have many minifigures in this set, I do feel a little bit cheated by Ellie Sattler. She bears more than a passing resemblance to Fleur Delacour from the Harry Potter sets. Ellie Sattler also appeared in set number 75932, Jurassic Park Velociraptor Chase. As you can see, both of these minifigures are practically identical except for the hair. And that kind of raises the question of whether Fleur Delacour looks like Ellie Sattler or vice versa. Certainly the Jurassic Park Velociraptor Chase set predates the new Harry Potter sets. So LEGO, all is forgiven. This is Dr. Ellie Sattler, the energetic paleobotanist who likes picking through dinosaur poop. She specialises in long dead plants, which is a little bit like my wife with houseplants. On the bottom here we have the dual moulded legs, and these are overprinted at the side and also on the front with some really nice detail for the top of the boots, and also some nice detail there for the belt with the metallic gold belt buckle. The torso print is superb. It's not new because it's been used before, but we've got this pink shirt which is tied in the middle over this blue undershirt, and a little bit of sweat around the collar there. She's certainly been exercising and trying to escape Jurassic Park. We do have some detailing on the back there with the seam down the back and the creases, and then this facial expression, which is not new. We've seen this a few times before. I really don't like this facial expression. It looks kind of smarmy, almost frog-like. We do have a slightly more terrified expression around the back, and then this blonde ponytail hairpiece, which we also saw used on Fleur Delacour. Overall, it's a nice Ellie Sattler minifigure. I did try and come up with a good quote for Ellie Sattler, but fell a bit short. So if there's one you really do like from Jurassic Park, then do call it out in the comment section below. Moving along from Ellie, we have her partner in crime, Dr. Alan Grant. He's a complete reboot from the character we got in the earlier set, except in that set we had hair. He comes holding this educational aid in the form of a velociraptor claw. I love the scene in the movie where he explains to the child how he's going to disembowel him with the claw and then eat him while he's still alive. I love the look on that kid's face, it's awesome. We have these plain khaki pants on here, no printing, and then a very simple torso print with the shirt and the pockets, and then the cravat around the neck picked out in red. A little bit of detailing around the back. I guess there's some sweat going on here and just some creases, and then the facial expression is, yeah, it's pretty good for Alan Grant. And of course he has his lucky hat, which is apparently a thing among dinosaur hunters. They spend so much time out in the sunshine, they kind of regard this as a lucky talisman. But that is Alan Grant. I guess he's perfect for the character, and yeah, really good. Favourite quote for Dr. Alan Grant is easy. Mr. Hammond, after careful consideration, I've decided not to endorse your park. And finally we have one of my favourite characters, computer programmer Dennis Nedry. Nedry, incidentally, is an anagram of nerdy, which is quite appropriate. This guy is greedy in more ways than one. Not only does he eat a lot of Butterfingers, but he was also accepting bribes from Biosyn to smuggle dinosaur embryos off the island, and that's pretty much how things went wrong. He is dressed here in these plain khaki pants and then a really nicely printed torso. We've got the grey shirt showing his belly underneath with his ID card, and he's got this kind of shirt here with the Jurassic Park logo on the front, but also a large Jurassic Park logo on the back, and in fact that is a hoodie. You can see the hood hanging down at the back. Dennis apparently goes to the same barber as Victor Crumb and also Ray Arnold, but then we have the magnificent grinning expression there with his glasses. You can see we've got this kind of opaque printing over the eyes, which shows the glare on his glasses. He definitely looks greedy. And around the back, Yep, he's finally got his comeuppance and he's about to be eaten by a Dilophosaur. As you can see here, we've got this kind of blue goop on his face. He's completely blinded. I think they shoot some kind of poison into the face of their prey to disorient them and then rip out their bowels. But that is the magnificent, I didn't say the magic word, Dennis Nedry. So that was set number 75936, the magnificent Jurassic Park T-Rex Rampage from LEGO Jurassic World. Lord knows where I'm going to put this thing, but it is awesome. The star of the show has to be that 2.5 foot long T-Rex. I love the colour choices, that flexible tail, and the truly evil looking head. I've no doubt LEGO could have sold the Dinosaur as a $120 standalone set. Certainly I'm seeing people splitting these things up on eBay. The gates are both intimidating and impressive at the same time. These will definitely attract people's attention if you display them in your home. The door mechanism works surprisingly well, and it's great to have all of those foliage elements even though they were tricky to apply. The minifigures included in the set are absolutely fantastic, and it's great to get the display stand. I think my favourite has to be Dennis, but I also like the John Hammond and Ray Arnold minifigures. The torso printing on Ian Malcolm was a little bit washed out, but overall it was a great selection of 6 minifigures. As well as Jurassic proportions, this set also has a Jurassic price tag at $250. That's a lot of money, but if you're looking for something to truly impress your friends, this is a good option. As always, I'd love to know what you thought of this set and whether you enjoyed the video. It takes a lot of work to put one of these together, and I always appreciate your feedback. Most of all, if you did enjoy the video, a thumbs up is always appreciated, and if you're not already a subscriber, don't forget to hit the subscribe button and ring the bell. I've got to wrap this up so I can get busy working on the next 2 Harry Potter sets. So thanks a million for checking out today's review, stay safe, and we'll see you on the next build video.